Hi, this is Tom Osberg, aka Ginger Khan, and you're listening to Void Signal with Brian McClelland.
We are rock and roll. So, I haven't interviewed too many like full bands before. We just had Boot Blacks on the show, I think. But if you guys want to just sort of, I don't want to have you like introduce yourselves, like, oh, tell me an interesting little thing about you and what, or anything like that. Just I don't know if you guys kind of want to just I don't know, at least introduce yourselves, associate a name with a voice, maybe, like we'll start with you, Carl.
Well, we're actually having a few audio issues right now while everybody's still logging in.
No.
We'll just once everybody is good, just speak into your mic and say that we can hear you.
Okay.
I think I figured that out on my end. Did you guys
Oh,
We're just waiting for Slash.
I'm here.
Hey, is that me?
That's you.
That's you.
Oh, it's so great! Hooray!
Hi.
Hello. You guys are doing it.
There we go.
What a success.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Test. Can
There
guys
you
hear me?
are.
Yeah, there's a Scott.
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, desktop app wasn't working, but the web one's working. So, yeah.
Yeah, had to go through Google Chrome in order to get this to work because Safari wasn't working.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah, I
I'm
couldn't
doing
get
it through Microsoft Edge, and it.
Oh.
Yeah, another Edge user. I'm not alone. There's literally like 5 of us now, at least.
I have to sadly report I'm trashing this PC and getting a Mac as soon as I can.
Oh, cool. All right. Well,
What?
all right. Okay. That's cool. I mean, that doesn't hurt my feelings or anything.
Okay. I'm glad. I mean, I still like PC. It's just we've had too long PC. I gotta go back to my roots.
Sure. Those are expensive roots, but
Unfortunately.
but that's okay. Well, I'm glad you're all here, and thank you so much for your time and for coordinating this. And man, I'm so glad I didn't miss this. I would have been so pissed if like you guys were all here and carefully assembled, and then I show up an hour later and I'm like, oh, these people were before I
They never show up on time.
I know. Ugh, rock stars, am I right? Sure. Well, I'm sorry that you guys didn't get a chance to play Reno on this most recent tour. I was hoping to be able to do all this in person. I've never really, I mean, I've done in-person interviews when I was working for Region, but just not since Void Signal's kind of taken off. But I'm sure that'll change in the future. Well, I can't say that. I don't. I don't know that it will. I don't know that. I mean, the future's pretty grim, but I have been really enjoying the music that you guys have been putting out. I was first kind of exposed to your stuff probably about, I want to say like maybe a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, whenever the video came out for Love Something. I'm sorry. It's
Love It Forever. Yes.
Yes, there you go. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry. It's early. I just woke up.
All good.
Waiting for all of my medications to kick in and everything. But the video by Clint, that was kind of what led me to you guys. And I've been enjoying the things that I've encountered that you've been making since then. And especially the direction that you guys have kind of been going, not just musically, but with this most recent kind of record and single, it, maybe this is, I don't know if this is shitty of me to say or point out or anything, but like the art style and the sort of aesthetic that you guys have been putting together has started to feel so much more, I don't know, striking, I guess, is what I want to say. Like just sort of really eye-catching. What is this something that you've sort of have put a lot of effort into or thought a lot about, or do you feel like the band, at least aesthetically and musically, is becoming a lot more close to sort of what you all collectively have decided it should be? I know that's a huge question, and I will start with, I'm just going to pick a name, so I hope you're ready. Be ready, whoever I call. Um, Sasha, you laughed last. We'll.
Oh, sorry. I'm not sure I'm the right person to answer this one. I think we can all jump in on it.
Oh no, it's all you. You're the mouthpiece for the whole band. So.
Oh yeah. Well, speaking for the band, no, I think we do put a lot of energy and effort and thought process and bounce time into like the visual aspects of it. I think we want to represent ourselves visually as well as sonically.
Sure.
If sonically is the correct word. So somebody else jump in on that.
Yeah, I could take over a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I feel like there's been this natural progression over the last couple of years as we like went into 2020. We had a very large vision for what this whole album was going to be, and it like included like it was very visual like when we thought about it, like it was like this idea of like breaking free of chains, and as above so below, like that phrase by itself is like very striking. And we worked we're really lucky to work with like all these amazing artists. Daphne put together like the main album artwork that's on the cover of As Above,
which is
and
splendid,
from there it's just sort of what's that?
Which is splendid, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
really love it. Like there's so much going on in it, and but like not in like a bad way. Like I feel like sometimes there can
right
it can get cluttered, but yeah, I'm
for sure.
sorry to interrupt. Please go.
Oh no, that's fine. And it's just naturally progressed, and it's leaked into pretty much everything we've been doing, and it's just I don't know, everything's starting to feel like, especially with this album, like there's just this cohesive vision behind everything that we're doing, Right. So, yeah, I don't know. Exactly.
It's all good. I've got two chihuahuas that regularly interrupt my interviews.
I thought that was Sasha.
I thought that was Woofy. Yeah.
No, I'm muted because Woofy and Moose are both here, and I'll unmute myself when I'm talking, but there's many barks.
Yeah, no, it's all good, and I try not to do. Well, I'll respond thoughtfully to your answer in just a moment, but I try not to edit too much, so any dog barking or anything like that will probably stay in.
Yeah. Wow.
My episode that I did not long ago with Caitlin Stokes from Corlix, my dog started vomiting while I was in the middle of it, and I'd be like, oh, hold on a second, and then it was like, oh, this is a perfect transition to just put a song in, so it's fine. But
the perfect transition of dog vomiting.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
Absolutely. It's like, hold on, let me put my life on hold for a second while.
Yeah.
But it does seem that, then that's not to a slight against your older records or anything like that. But the evolution from the end of the beginning to As Above is just pretty transformative. Like it's really interesting to sort of go back through your back catalog, which is what I've been doing over the past couple of weeks, to make sure that I was like, I'd listened to it all before, but I wanted to be like fresh, ready. So it does seem a lot more cohesive. It's interesting that, I mean, you guys are a pretty big band. There's a lot of cooks in this kitchen. How has that shaped up? I mean, what have you done to sort of try and avoid the kind of natural sandpaper reactions between people?
I mean, that's a great question. We, in a way, like we've been friends for a while now, and we all just sort of get along in ways that's like, and like I'm sure other people should answer this too, but at least from my perspective, it's like we all like go into this without a lot of ego, I mean, we all want to make something. We all have a piece of the vision, but we're all like capable in a way that's very complementary. You know, like Steve programs like all of our lights. You know, like Gordon does a lot of the engineering for when we're like recording. Like we do everything in house too, so we're like totally DIY. So like each one of us like does something different. You know, Tosh, she's booking the shows. You know, behind the scenes, she's like, you know, our booking agent essentially. Right.
I mean, you have enough people in the band.
insane.
You're almost your own record label at this point.
Yeah, no, it's what it really feels like. It a lot of the times, like we actually think of it more and more as like a label. You know, it's like a whole operation and with many moving parts, and we're all just like, I mean, we all just love what it is, and we're just happy to like all like contribute in the best ways that each of us can contribute, you know.
Sure.
I think we think of it as a kitchen. When you said how lots of cooks in the kitchen, this is
Yeah.
Gordon, by the way. You know, I immediately thought, I was like, well, how do you avoid, you know, crossover in the kitchen? You just know it's like Scott's the meat master. He does amazing grilling. Tosh will do lasagnas and stuff.
Yes.
Carl's got a thing.
Wow.
I mean, Steve makes these smoothies and these, you know, juices and all sorts. Like, I don't really cook that much. I could do really good mac and cheese.
Oh, cool. Wow. I mean, we can use less cooking analogies for the music. I don't want to think about somebody like, oh yeah, what do you bring to the band? Oh, I'm the meat master. Just stand back. You know?
That is a legit skill, though.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is all literal too. Like especially during the Inside Out tour, there were times where all of us were in the kitchen making food, do the show. After the show's done, everybody is just going down.
I mean, that was Video Village, and it was a gathering spot, the well.
Right, and that kind of brings up the other question. Which, first off, I'm very impressed at the level of cohesion that you've been able to display with other people. I can barely work with someone else, one other person, for for longer than a day. But this most recent tour that you guys just got back from back in December, I think, or November maybe. But how did that go? It was just a handful of dates, but how was that? Like, what are your not ghost stories, horror stories from the road of a post? Well, I don't want to say post. We're still in it, but pandemic landscape. Like, you braved the wasteland to play some shows. How'd they go?
Well, this is Tosh. I found it to be like, I think a lot of us were kind of in a tentative place. I was encountering people that, they'd let me know this was their first show since the pandemic. And it was the first live show for us. I mean, we did a local event here in LA. We played the Labyrinth Masquerade Ball, but, it was our first tour. And even though it was a short one, it was still, we were all like trying to be just aware and cognizant, like stepping into it. We continued to wear our masks while we were out on the road. Happy to say that we all stayed healthy. And, it was one of those things where I found it to be quite lovely, actually, to see our people in person. Though, we did a lot of virtual touring in 2020, and it's a wonderful way to connect with people. There is something very magical about the live experience. And so I don't know, I myself found myself very grateful to get to be among our people, to see these beautiful venues that had survived, because I know a lot didn't.
Right.
So just really grateful for the community at large.
Gotcha. And did you I don't know. I can't even imagine like what it must be like to sort of like go out and brave the road and like have people coming to your show with like, did you feel like a little bit of a burden over, a duty to be like, oh yeah, your first show after, hope you're ready for mediocre, or I mean, like I would have no confidence to like really. I mean, was the pressure just like incredible, or?
Yeah, I mean, I always get nervous before shows anyway. I think that's kind of normal for me. So yeah, definitely felt the like, well, I hope we don't suck.
I mean, I get enormous pressure the moment that like I ask somebody to be on the show and they're like, "Oh, I've never been interviewed. I've never been asked to be interviewed before." And I'm like, "Oh shit, fuck. No. I don't want this to be your first impression." So I mean, I would feel immense pressure if somebody were to say that to me, more than just like the usual nervousness, but I don't know. It sounds like you guys might have handled it pretty well.
I think go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, jump in there.
I think just because we've toured so much, like it's been actually kind of a way of life for us for quite some time. Prior to Alice, we were touring a lot with Mankind is Obsolete. That was another band that me and Gordon and Scott were in together, and we did a heck of a lot of touring. And so I think it's like it felt kind of like just riding a bike again. You know, you just jump on that bike.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I think, the hardest part of the pandemic. Like that whole year, 2020, it was just like everything was shut down, and we were like already. I feel like we started to hit a stride in 2019, 2020. We had like 4 amazing tours booked, and then all of a sudden it was just like nothing. So just getting to be able to like go back out and play some shows and just be in that environment again was amazing, and I'm personally super thankful to have that. But yeah, we're definitely looking forward to things opening back up more and more as hopefully this whole situation like resolves.
We'll see. I appreciate your optimism. It's I mean, I'm a pretty optimistic person, but I'm not. I'm struggling to hold out hope, but it sounds like you have enough for both of us. So that's. So what comes next for you guys as a whole? Like the like I said, that I think that just sort of looking at how the band has evolved from start to finish, it seems like it's, as a unit, it's definitely stronger now than it ever has been. But there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. There's meat masters. There's all sorts of things going on. Like, what have you all collectively decided to be the next step? We'll start with Gordon.
Okay, well, I'm not sure how much I'm authorized to actually reveal because we have a lot of confidentiality. But we had a fantastic sort of mind melding and year building. And, Scott alluded to the fact that, being on tour during the beginning of the pandemic was different for us. He didn't mention why, but it was all the virtual touring that really changed a lot of what we had to do. I think, cohesively, blending that digital and that analog started there. And so we learned a lot about that, and we're trying to bring that forward into everything we're doing, and everything this year coming up is more it's more thought out in a way. It's like we have a pretty streamlined plan. We have some great tours coming up. We have some virtual shows. We're going to continue doing live performances on Twitch on AL1CE.TV. And we're still working on new songs. We're gonna plan on getting together and just melding of the minds again, and mastering of the meat, and making some magic.
All right.
It's such great alliteration.
It really is.
So good.
It's one of the most impressive answers I think I've gotten. So yeah.
Well, thank you. I practiced all 5 seconds before my mouth opened.
I appreciate that. I mean, I practice 0 before I get on here and start interviewing people, so I admire your dedication.
Oh no, it was a good question because we actually literally just came off of like a huge brainstorming session. So yeah, I think it's all really fresh in our minds. Like we basically have at least the next year, if not 2 years, planned out.
Gotcha.
So yeah, like we were talking about sort of what you saw for As Above. We're going to be doing like a double, like a second part of As Above, so it'll be So Below, and then it's going to be like a large sort of campaign to do like a vinyl double album with a vinyl as well, plus a bunch of other cool stuff we're thinking about doing.
Josh, can we pitch promote some of the shows? We're going to be playing a lot of cool things this year that Tasha's been so great at putting together, and
absolutely,
if you would mind hearing about it, we could tell people where we're going to be.
I would absolutely love to hear about it. Whatever you guys want to talk about is cool with me. I ask questions just to make people talk, but I mean, our interview time is yours. Whatever you would like to say or discuss. So hit me with it. What's the first show you got coming up, and what do you have planned for it? How are you going to blow people's minds when you get there? Lots of pressure. This might be some people's first show since the pandemic. So what are you going to do to blow people's minds?
Yeah.
Well, it's really cool because our last tour we played in Fort Worth and got to interact with the wonderful community there. And they asked us back for Valentine's weekend, so we're playing their Bloody Valentine's Ball in Fort Worth, and I built a little mini tour around that. So we're actually going to be hitting Oklahoma actually for the first time. We're playing, some places in the Southwest, Texas, per usual, which is a home state for several of us, building out the rest of the year from there. We are actually planning on coming back through Reno, so hopefully it will actually work out this time.
I assume tour dates and everything are over on like your Facebook and website and everything.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay. Oklahoma seems like, I mean, when I think of Alice and tours, Oklahoma doesn't come up. So what was it difficult to find a place to play there, or was it?
Actually yes, and in some regions it's hard to even find bands.
Sure.
A lot of bands unfortunately went really inactive during the pandemic, so finding bands that are still playing, things like that are it's actually been quite a challenge. So and it's really interesting you should say that. I remember one time we were talking to a person at a label who looked at our tour dates, and they were like, wow, you play like all these smaller towns. Like most bands like hit like larger towns. And I think honestly, I love playing smaller towns. I myself grew up in a smaller town, so I feel like I kind of vibe with the small town vibe, pretty
Sure.
well. And I find that the communities there at large, generally speaking, are quite lovely, like really supportive. We've been known to play our share of like cornfields and skate parks and everything in between, and I actually love it. I think sometimes it's nice to find people that, I don't know, you can find really interesting creatives. Like we played this little bar in Amarillo, Texas, of all things, on our last tour, and it turns out it was like a whole pocket of artists that hung out there. And so I think you can really discover a lot of really talented people in these regions that normally you wouldn't get to experience,
Right, for sure. I mean, I grew up in a small town as well, and so it was like, the very idea of an artist coming through and playing a show that I'd want to go see would be pretty huge. I remember years and years ago, a long ass time ago, maybe around the time Cyclone 9's second record came out, they were playing a show here in Reno, and I was like, holy shit, what are the odds? Like, nobody comes to Reno. It's just like, it's just out of the way enough. But I was like, wow, an artist who I listen to is going to be playing Reno. So I went and there was no one there. I mean, it was like maybe 6 or 7 people.
We come from a well, I know I could speak for Sasha and Carl. Well, no, and Tosh as well. That we all come from a lot of theatrical background, and in theater, one of the first things I ever learned was there could be one person in there, but we have to give them the show. It's the same show, and I think that's just in our bones. That's why playing small towns is so rewarding, because I think people are even more grateful that you actually took the time to come out this whole way, and we're like, sure, it beats fighting with all the big acts on the in the big cities.
All right, absolutely. And I was gonna say, like, it's kind of amazing to me that you guys were able to put a tour together, given how many other artists are trying to kind of get back on the road at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I did notice that when I was looking at the tour dates. I'm like, what the fuck is this tour? Like, what? I was like, oh yeah, anytime I see tour dates, I'm like I'm mentally preparing to like, oh, okay, I have to logistically figure out how I'm going to get to San Francisco or Vegas or whatever. So that when there was a Reno date, I actually didn't even know about it. A friend of mine here in town, Eleanor Romo, who was kind of trying to help find a venue for you guys. She was the one who was like, yeah, they're playing in town, like, you gotta go. And I'm like, no shit, I know that band. Gotta do it.
Awesome.
But I'm sure playing like small towns and stuff, like, it sounds fun to me. Like, I honestly, I would almost prefer that to like a bigger venue, like, but I don't know. It sounds fun, but what do I know?
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all fun.
I mean, we come from punk rock too, and so playing a small place and be real loud, and it just all fun. That's great. Big venues are it's just a different beast. It's such a sonic difference, right. And they're both fun in their own ways. But I know a lot of the time the punk rock and us sometimes partial small clubs.
Yeah, I think I just prefer small clubs in general a lot. I've been to like big shows, but then I caught like Ghost Feeder, Julian K and Pig in like San Francisco at Slim's, which is like not big. Or no, sorry, not Slim's. DNA Lounge. And DNA Lounge is just like, it's so small, but like, fuck, it sounded great, and it was just like, it felt so
great
personal. It really is, yeah, because the stage is all small and stuff. Like, oh man, it was really like, I love that like tiny little atmosphere. It feels more like just a bunch of people hanging out at that point.
Was it in Spokane where we played the burrito place where they had the little comedy show? I mean, that was like, talk about, if we will play your burrito shop is basically what I'm saying.
Excellent.
Burrito tour.
No, I think it's true though. I think getting to just, if you feel like you're just hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
And you get to make music with people you love and then hang out. It's super fun. Also, yes, we will totally play for burritos.
The fun part is like, we'll bring our full production to any venue, like small or large, like, and it translates to both small stages and like very large stages. Like, we have a complete light show, like, there's like smoke, it's all triggered by sequencer, like, it's, I don't know, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, I have looked up some video of you guys live, and it looked like a blast. I was really excited to go to the show in Reno, but then it got fucked up, so it's okay.
Well, we'll have to do a do-over.
Yeah, especially because Reno has amazing burritos. So if burritos,
oh, you're speaking our language.
Yeah, if burritos are something that you need, they are here, and they are excellent. Yeah, the burrito tour. So we'll have to get burritos when you guys come to Reno. There's a place called Speedy Burritos that's just like, it's like locally owned. And the problem though is that like they're the best burritos in town, but this is not related to your music. But this is why I run the podcast, because then I can force people to talk to me and listen to my dumb stories. So there's a there's a burrito place in town, but it's like they close on like every single religious anything. Like not just Sunday, like, oh, it's whatever. Like it's like you pull in, you're excited. Oh, I can't wait to get a burrito. And then, oh, we're closed because it's the Pope's birthday or
like
I don't
St.
know.
Anthony Day.
Yeah, like you need like a theological calendar to know when they're open.
Big day.
Obviously, these burritos are godly blessed.
See?
So.
Exactly. Yeah, see?
What's
They're just that good.
speedy burritos, you said?
Speedy burritos, yeah. I mean,
right.
whatever.
I'm excited.
Speedy
Yeah.
burritos.
I just Googled it. It looks awesome. I'm looking at pictures of it.
Oh, it is.
Somebody get a liturgical calendar before we go.
Yeah.
We do run under it.
I can just imagine Scott looking at pictures of burritos right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, right? And I mean, like, their website is...
man, look at that one.
Their
that
website
one's
is
good
like
too.
so like it's like some 1997 Angel Fire page looking shit.
Check this out then.
Like it's pretty retro and minimalistic, and oh man, it's so good. It's so authentic, and of course, like if you go into like a burrito place or a Mexican restaurant, like the mark of quality that you know it's going to be bomb is if the dining area is just a fucking disaster where it just looks like a riot happened. Like
A burrito riot.
a burrito riot, exactly.
Yes, these are all fantastic.
You can name your next record Burrito Riot if you want.
It's true. It's a good name.
That's a band. It's a band name.
Yeah, it is. You're welcome. I mean, I'm full of these ideas.
You're welcome.
But yeah, anyway, we'll have to go to Speedy Burrito. That sounds wonderful. Well, aside from touring and the record and everything that you have lined up, do you have anything else on the horizon as far as the band goes that you're sort of looking forward to that you can talk about, I guess? Anybody can answer.
Josh, you want to talk about Something to Believe?
Yeah, I would love to. We've been working on a music video for the song "Something to Believe," and I'm so excited. I get excited and I forget how to talk. We have 2 more shooting days. This is really we've shot. Gosh, I want to say 6 or 7 days of shooting now, and we have 2 more shooting days coming up, and then we'll just dive into the extravagance of all of the post-productioning. But it's just been such a fun one to be able to just go to all these different beautiful places. I mean, in and around our town. It's not like we flew somewhere for it, but still to be able to just put our heads together and come up with it and go shoot and just the the punk rockness, I guess, of this particular shoot. Like when we were driving out to the desert, and then when we got there and the wind was like 400 miles an hour, and we were like, we're doing it, and
we're rock stars. We
control the wind. And so I for one, am really excited about putting this one together. It's just been a really fun experience, and everyone's been very just absolute troopers, especially Tosh. I'm like, no, you have to get in the cold water, in the ice cold water. Yeah, but now look comfortable.
Yeah, look natural.
Wow.
Yeah, I also saw that you guys played Gainesville, Florida, and I that's actually where I'm from. Like a lot of my family is still in Gainesville. They're not cool. They wouldn't have gone to the show, but that's okay. They're shitty. But it's so cool that like you guys go and play small towns. And yeah, when you mentioned desert and wind, like Reno's a high altitude desert, I immediately was like, that sounds like a logistical nightmare of trying to go in the desert on a windy day and accomplish anything or film anything. But you did it presumably, so hats off to you guys for being tenacious, at least.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, I'm excited to see what you guys produce next. Everything that I've seen from you has been just absolutely riveting. Like in some way or another, it's just like so striking. It seems like there's a tremendous amount of effort put into, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but I'll stroke you guys and make you feel good. There's a tremendous amount of effort that seems to go into making not just music, but just making art, making something that is evocative in ways that are more than just one, right? And I think that I would hope that a lot of artists are trying to do the same thing, but I definitely feel like since the pandemic that it's, and not just the pandemic, but just sort of the way the music landscape is nowadays, that you sort of have to be so versed in other disciplines, right? Like you have to, this person in the, you guys are fortunate in that respect of like, oh, this person in the band has an interest in filming, or this person can produce this or make this thing. And that seems like such a huge asset to have, given like how many members you have and everything. Is that true, or am I just like bullshitting? I mean, I could be fucking wrong. I don't know.
No,
absolutely. You hit it on the head.
Yeah, absolutely. As Gordon said, I think one of the big joys about our group and about our community around us is that I feel like we're all kind of growing up together. I feel like we're always trying new things. And so it's, with the band, we're also surrounded with like really incredibly talented, dancers and other filmmakers and visual artists. And I feel like what's really fun is that, we'll come to the table with an idea and we'll be like, okay, we want to shoot something in a rain machine. Go. And that's what happened actually with our last music video, Electrical. One of our friends, during the pandemic, made a rain machine in his backyard and was like, hey, I have this rain machine. And we're like, hey, we were actually talking about shooting something like that. But I mean, I think that's one of the things I absolutely love about our community is that we're always trying to encourage each other to push our limit. Mm-hmm. So I think as a result, like we've all kind of collectively grown together. Sure. And that's kind of the nature of how we operate is just, what is the next thing that we can discover artistically? What is the next thing that we can discover? Or even technically, there's a lot of really cool things I think that we've discovered technologically speaking since the pandemic began. One of the silver linings, I think, was the virtual tours for us, which is something we never would have done otherwise. And so, yeah, I think, it's wonderful being part of a group and part of a community that's always willing to kind of play,
Gotcha. I mean, I have no friends or anything that make rain machines. So I guess I need to expand my circles and get to know different people. But,
or we'll come out and hang out with you and we'll play, and eat burritos together.
Yeah, see, I mean, now I know cool people. Like, but I mean, like the people, nobody here in Reno is making a rain machine, and if they hear this, they need to step it up. The bar's been raised. All of that's very exciting. I really like the art that you guys are making. One thing that we've been talking about your art and everything for about 40 minutes or so, and I usually close the show with like the same question, but before I go about asking that question to you guys, just because it'll take a little bit of time to kind of get through what everybody has to say, and I definitely want to kind of give everybody a chance to speak and answer. But before we get to that, is there anything else that related to Alice that you guys want to talk about that maybe I didn't ask, or give you a question that kind of led there? Like, it's totally fine. I just what do you want to say? What do you got? Hit me with it now, quick.
Jeez. We just have a lot in store for the year, and we're excited. don't know what else to say of like beyond that. Like
Okay.
there's just so much.
No, that's fine. I mean, no pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like applying a little bit of pressure to people, and just like, especially like this format, like I need to interview more bands, just because then I have like a list of names that I could be like, you answer this question, you talk now, and I like that. I like being able to just like. Go ahead.
So something I could talk about actually is we've been building this online community called the Mad Hatter Army for like almost a year now, and it's just sort of it's been amazing to see so many people just sort of come into it. Like it just seems like a natural sort of leg of what we do, you know. But it's basically centered around this Facebook group called the Mad Hatter Army. And it's all for like fans of Alice and like similar music genres and stuff like that. So if anyone's listening and wants to hang out, feel free to join the Mad Hatter Army.
I mean, I'm listening and I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Mad Hatter Army. Oh, Alice official. Great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'm jumping in right now. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you for joining.
Hey, thanks. But well, that's this has been splendid. I've enjoyed having you guys on the show. But the last question that I will put to each and every one of you, that I close every show with, is just what have you been enjoying lately? Like, what's the thing that, and your answer can be anything. It can be a book or a movie or a TV show or a video game or whatever. But just what's something that stands out in your mind, of just like, man, I really loved this thing that I experienced or consumed. I don't want to say consumed. I don't like. Anyway, that's another rant. I don't like referring to people as like, oh, we consume this, and calling people consumers. It feels dirty. But anyway, what's something that just stands out in your mind of just like, man, this thing I just finished with, I really love it. And we will start with, hold on, Scott, we'll go with you.
Yeah. So I've actually been reading Robert Jordan's The Wheel of Time series over again. So I'm a huge fan of this story, and that there was like a whole series that came out on Amazon Prime. I don't know if you know of it or anything like that, but anyways, it was vastly different than the book, but it just reminded me so much of the book that I had to go back to it. And it's actually like a 13 or 14 book series of books. But yeah, it's I'm just thoroughly enjoying that. So yeah. That's my answer.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I have to come in at the tail end of that, because I was gonna say I am thoroughly enjoying rereading Wheel of Time. I'm on book 7 of those 13, because I quit just before 13. So I need to refresh myself before I can get back into it. But I really like what the show did to, like Scott said, sort of get me back into it, but also to update it and to allow me the freedom of just sort of going through faster and not reading every single word and just getting the gist of it. So it's really fun redoing that.
It's interesting that you're sort of tuning into a show that both of you said that it's a little bit different than the source material, and you're still able to appreciate it. At least for me, a lot of things, if it's a book I really love, and the TV show or movie or whatever isn't quite right, I'll stomp my feet, and get upset about it. I'm familiar with the series just in this. I've never read it myself, but my wife does read a lot of fantasy books, and has told me the horror stories of oh yeah, the new book in the series came out, so I had to start over from the beginning and reread all of them to be ready. And I'm like,
oh, it's such a delightful thing.
It sounds like so much work. I just want my book to be one and done, and I'll be fine. All right, great. Well, I'll have to check out the series if it's worth eyeball time. In your opinion, I will check it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's keep it going. Carl, you're next.
Ooh. I am actually really enjoying, piggybacking on the reading thing, not looking at my phone or screens as much, I guess, because I just got the recent assignment of being a synth player for this band.
Yes,
and,
Carl.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I seriously, this is not even an exaggeration, I've been practicing for the last week 6 hours every single day to make sure that at the very least I don't hit a wrong note and everything, which I know is going to happen, but sure. I just want to make sure I did everything in my power to not do that. Gotcha. And other than that, just been reading plays for a theater company that I'm going to be starting with some friends of mine. And so between just reading plays and playing music, I have not looked at my computer. I haven't looked at my emails. I haven't looked at my phone, which is why I'm not very responsive lately, everybody. Sorry about that. And that's really what I'm enjoying a lot right now.
That sounds nice. Being away from, my wife and I had a sort of a similar sentiment last night about, she was like, I didn't know where my phone was for 7 hours, and it was great. I'm a big fan of that. You sound very busy, like a theater production company. That's wild.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. I did a play last year with some really, really, really great people, and so great that I'm bothering each other. We're like, we got to do something else, and it's like, all right, well, there's 6 of us.
Mm-hmm.
I guess we can start something if we wanted to, and then it kind of nobody said no, so everybody just kept on doing it, and now it's in its very infant stages right now. But yeah, whenever we go on the road, I'm going to be doing a lot of reading out there.
Gotcha.
So.
Well, I mean, I'm also glad that you know people who are like, when you propose an idea, are willing to sort of jump in on it. You know, I have friends that I went to college with that I'm like, yeah, we should start a podcast together, and like that never happens. Like they just, oh yeah, that would be great, and then you know the next day they're sober and they're like, oh, I don't remember saying that.
Oh man, that is the thing about this Alice group though, is we have this whole rule where don't bring it to the group unless you're ready to go, because it will happen.
Yeah, and be careful even about like making jokes about something that you're like, oh, wouldn't it be funny if we did this? And then someone in the group is like, that's amazing, we're doing that.
Oh man, so the burrito tour could happen. Wow, so excited.
The burrito tour.
Burrito tour. But yeah, like everything from like especially with the music videos, like where it's like, hey, what if we did a rain machine, or what if we threw Tosh into a pond, or like, what if like if
it was
the
so
what if,
beautiful.
Yeah,
it really was.
And every single time there's a what if, it usually comes to fruition, and it's really amazing because it's insanely rewarding to seriously have just an idea which is just in your head come out and be physicalized. There's just nothing that can compare to that feeling. So I am deeply grateful for this band for letting me experience that on a almost daily basis.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, not to get too sentimental, but I mean, kind of the same thing is happening for me even at this moment. You know, I left Region Magazine, and you know, I always answer my own question here of what I've been enjoying. So I guess I'll just go ahead and jump in and say this, kind of to spin off of what you were saying, is that I left Region Magazine to try and do something on my own, and it's been a little bit of a struggle. Like, you know, starting out, I was like, oh, I need a co-host, I'm not charming, and then I discovered that, you know, I had a flaky co-host, and then I sort of got the confidence to be like, I'm mostly acceptable, so I'll just host it my fucking self. And it's been a struggle up and down of like, do I want to keep doing this? What am I doing? What do I want it to be? But I've been putting a lot more effort into it, and it's really shaping up, and being able to have all of you on here to answer my questions and to talk about your art has been, I'm enjoying that. Like, it's been really great to have what I'm, my sort of dreams and the things that I, you know, really wanted to do even when I was younger, sort of come to fruition with all of you to help me do that. So thank you again so much for coming on the show and helping me sort of live my dream. Because apparently Alice doesn't just make dreams come true for their own band members, but also for anybody else, I guess. So thank you guys, but we will keep it going. What are you enjoying? Like, who's next?
Oh wait, before we continue, I just have to say I think you're actually a really awesome, gifted, thoughtful interviewer. Like, we're so grateful that you have us on this show, and it's been such a pleasure on our end as well. I mean, I love the fact that you've like shared your own experiences with this. So thank you for that inspiration.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And Speedy Burritos.
Yeah, Speedy Burritos. It's gonna happen. Like, I can't wait. Wait. All right. What do you got? Who's next? Jump in. Speak.
I think Steve.
Hello.
Steve.
Yeah, Steve.
What do I got? The last few days, I've kind of been diving into this Metallica cover or tribute album that like 53 different artists. They took all the tunes from the Black album and redid their own versions of the songs. And so, I mean, it's like really expansive. That album's a little sort of, I guess, polarizing a little bit, but I always really liked it. Right. And boy, you hear all these different artists from all these different genres coming together to remake these tunes, and what a like exercise in creativity just listening to everybody's takes on Metallica songs. It's really cool. And one of my favorites is David Gahan from Depeche Mode.
Yeah,
he did this like synthy haunting cinematic version of Nothing Else Matters that is just like, I mean, I have it on repeat. Anybody who hasn't listened to it, it's called Metallica Blacklist, I think is the album. It came out late last year. But yeah, there are a few really cool versions of these tunes, and it just how it really sort of inspires creativity and makes me want to like go and create. You're like, wow, these artists are so cool. So anyway, I'd say the last few days I've been sort of diving deep into that.
Gotcha. Have you ever, I liked Metallica when I was much younger, but not so much now. But did you ever hear the covers of their stuff that was done by Apoptygma Berserk?
No.
Yeah,
no.
they covered like Fade to Black and like maybe another track or so. Maybe Nothing Else Matters even like, now that I think about it. But yeah, they just
I wonder if that was on that. I have to look back and see, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they recorded these probably like, I want to say maybe 20 years ago almost at this point. It's, early 2000s kind of era stuff. But man, it was like they just took their kind of like synth poppy kind of style and put it on it, and it worked. I'll have to check out the Dave Gahan cover though. Like I haven't heard that myself, and his solo record was all right.
Yeah,
it was
agreed. It wasn't what I would have expected, and this is so different from what that is. I'm not really feeling it. It's but I hope he goes in this direction. It reminds me a little of, in some ways, what we're doing too, and so maybe that's where I relate to it. But like, it's man, I hope he does more in this vein, because it's awesome.
I mean, I like his older solo records, but this most recent one was just sort of like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an artist, so it's a little. I always feel shitty when I like have to say something negative. But I mean, I could have taken it or left it. And I did choose to leave it. So
yeah, totally agreed. I agree with that totally. But I just sort of happened upon this. There's everything, so just making my way through all the different artists, from country artists to, Miley Cyrus, who actually wails on her version. She actually kills it too. I'm not a huge Miley Cyrus fan, but then you hear her version.
That surprises me. I expected.
Have you heard that one? Yeah.
Yeah, I was expecting you to be a huge Cyrus head, or whatever they call their fans.
Yeah. Anyways.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I'm in.
Okay. Sasha, what do you got?
I guess I'm gonna jump on the reading train. I finally got back through all the Dresden Files books, which I just love, and I made it like halfway through the last one, and then I was like, I can't finish it. I can't. It's gonna be over. And so I've just sort of had the book sitting around staring at me, but I love those stories so much. So I am also of the camp of like, okay, the new book is coming. I have to start at number 1 and read all 17 books so that I'm ready. So, but there is a really cute short story from the same, I guess, like universe called Zoo Day. And I've just fallen in love with that particular short story from the Dresden Files world.
Why?
Because there's a talking dog.
Okay.
The end.
All right.
It's so great.
Okay. I mean, that's
there's
fine.
not a talking dog in the rest of the stories. He's
Sure.
just a regular dog. It's just in Zoo Day he gets to talk a little bit. That's great news.
Okay. All right. There are no wrong answers on this show. So,
Oh.
you can enjoy Talking Dog Story.
Thank you. I will.
You're so welcome. But no, that is a really interesting answer. And what is with people who read fucking like any sort of fantasy book series that they're like, I have to start over at the beginning. I need to relive the whole thing. I want my emotions to rise and fall. I have to go on the journey again. It's like rewinding the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and you're just like, I want to go on this journey with Frodo and Sam all over again. Like, that sounds exhausting.
I love it.
I don't know. I admire your stamina, your reading stamina. That's for damn sure. But I am just teasing you, of course. Like, it sounds like an interesting story. Like, so it's just like a one-off, like, short story of like a character that's been in the main series.
Yeah, it's he writes these short stories kind of in between when the books take place,
Right.
and this one just happens to be where the dog gets to talk, and it was just so unexpected, I guess.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's darling. I highly recommend the Dresden Files for anyone who isn't currently reading them or hasn't read them before.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, Tosh, what about you?
I guess for me it's two parts. So going along the reading theme, I've gotten really into the Bobiverse series by Dennis E. Taylor.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. If you're not familiar with it, I don't want to give away the whole thing, but it definitely goes into AI and consciousness and the what if of like how humans could possibly achieve immortality through AI and consciousness. So that's been I've been deep diving with book one. It's awesome. And the other part is I'm a super Trekkie. So I discovered Star Trek Discovery, and I'm loving that series.
Really?
So,
Every like Trek person I know just absolutely shits all over Discovery every single time it comes up.
I love it. So,
I mean, I was really, I started to watch it. My wife and I did, and I was really enamored with it. But after a while, I sort of, I don't know. I just kind of fell away from it, I guess. But it's interesting that you're like super into that sort of universe, and you're like really enjoying the new show.
Well, what I've been doing is actually watching the OG Star Trek in tandem, and it's really interesting how the two series parallel. And to see the technology that they had available to them in terms of the filmmaking back then versus now, to see like how did they tell this story? You know, I mean, they had to use their creativity for sure to be able to pull off what they did. And I guess it kind of resonates with me as like a budding filmmaker in our own universe here in Alice Land. It's like, okay, if we have limited resources, what tricks can we use in our pocket to achieve what we're trying to achieve?
Right.
You know, but with Discovery, it's interesting to see like all the things that they're able to accomplish with their filmmaking. It's pretty amazing.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll recommend a book that's not as prolific as far as volume goes, compared to what some of you are living and breathing every day, reading a lot, from the sound of it. But it's a little graphic novel kind of a thing. I saw it in a used bookstore here in town, and it just immediately grabbed my attention because it just had such a weird cover and such a weird name. But it's called Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Jomny Sun. I don't know if you've ever heard of this or not, but it's it's like a hardcover book, but it's just this little kind of a graphic novel, almost like a children's book, I guess, but it's like it has all these like very deliberate misspellings of words. So there's a sort of childlike element to it, but it's just about this little alien that gets left on Earth, and he's left here to meet Earthlings, and he just kind of wanders around and talks to trees and otters and whatever he encounters, whatever he runs into, but mixed in with this very kind of humble offering of, the pretense of this quote unquote, air quote, children's novel. Mixed in are all of these really prolific, really profound messages about life and the human experience, and talking about how life is something that you enjoy with a friend, and all these kinds of sentiments and moments where, to be like a very humble little children's book, like I found myself having to like stop and like have a cry and then come back to it, and I mean it grabbed me emotionally to be something so.
I see a picture here of
unexpected.
One of them. It's a turkey.
Yeah.
It's a turkey talking to the guy, and he says, "Never be sad about the past. It has already happened, and you cannot change it. Instead, focus on what truly matters, being sad about the future."
Exactly, but it is.
I'm reading some of it now.
That's awesome.
It sounds so cool.
I'm gonna get that for Astrid.
Right? And there's an owl who's like, what if owls are supposed to be wise? What if I'm not wise? And it just addresses so many issues of the human condition, I guess you could say. But
can relate to that owl.
Yeah, right.
Oh, it's like so cute.
Right?
Ooh, thank you for the recommendation.
Yes, I feel like 6 copies of this will be purchased in the near future.
Yep.
Well, mission accomplished. I absolutely love that book, and it's stays on my coffee table. But yeah, that's my recommendation. Aside from Slaughterhouse-Five, which is just my favorite novel of all time. So, but I'm sure everybody's read Slaughterhouse-Five, right?
Oh, no, yeah. I haven't. I would love to, though.
Oh
that sounds like ooh, okay. That'll be my tour book.
Yeah. Yeah, you definitely have to. We're at an hour. That's usually what I set aside for these kinds of things. But so yeah, you guys are free to leave. But yeah, thank you all so much for your time. I'm sure that logistically it was a little tricky to get everybody together like this, but yeah, thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yeah, thanks. It's been delightful.
Thanks. I hope so. I try.
Yeah.
All right. We'll do burritos when you guys come through now.
If you want more Void Signal content, then please visit voidsignal.net. Here you'll find additional information about the show, including merchandise that you can buy to support the show, because my boy Brian here, he has got to pay the rent. voidsignal.net.